Thousands of years ago, the region we now know as the Sahara Desert was entirely unrecognizable. It was an oasis, overflowing with leafy trees that touched the sky, waterfalls glistening with fresh water, and a climate that supported a dense, thriving ecosystem. Into this ancient world was born Phaethon, a Greek boy with hair as bright as the morning sun. He constantly boasted to his peers that he was the son of Apollo, the sun god, leaning entirely on this unproven claim to secure his status among the other children. But his peers demanded evidence. A rival boy named Epaphus openly mocked him, calling him a liar and an ordinary wimp. For a boy who built his entire identity around his supposed divine heritage, this public taunt was completely devastating. Phaethon ran to his mother in shame. Even when she swore by the sunlight that he was indeed Apollo's child, her words weren't enough. He demanded absolute, undeniable proof that he could parade in front of his peers to silence their mockery forever. A bruised ego is a volatile thing. Driven by the fear of being exposed as unremarkable, Phaethon prioritized his pride over caution, setting out to claim a power he did not understand. He walked eastward for months until he reached the edge of the world, climbing 1,000,000 golden steps to reach a towering palace constructed of sparkling bronze and shining ivory. There he found his father. Apollo, holding court on a dazzling throne, was thrilled to finally meet his mortal son and overwhelmingly eager to make amends for a lifetime of absence. Blinded by paternal guilt, Apollo made a catastrophic error. Before hearing what Phaethon actually wanted, the sun god swore an unbreakable oath to grant the boy absolutely anything he desired. Phaethon didn't hesitate. He asked to steer the sun chariot. He wanted the entire world to look up and see him driving the flying horses and dragging the sun across the sky. Apollo instantly realized his mistake, but gods cannot break their oaths. An insecure boy's desperate ambition and a father's hasty guilt locked them into a devastating contract. This diagram outlines the daily trajectory of the sun chariot. Apollo warned his son that the route requires a nearly vertical ascent that strains even immortal horses, crests at a terrifying altitude at noon, and ends with a dizzying dive back toward the surface that induces pure vertigo. At dawn, Phaethon climbed aboard. The fiery horses kicked off the ground, but immediately realized they were pulling only a fraction of the weight they were used to. Without the heavy ballast of a god, the chariot zipped upward, entirely untethered. The massive steeds sensed the loose reins and the weak grip of their new driver. They broke off the steep morning arc entirely, surging upward and racing wildly into unknown regions of the sky. Phaethon had seized the ultimate symbol of universal power, but without the physical weight and experience to anchor it, he lost control of the vehicle the very second it left the ground. The ride instantly became a sensory nightmare. The wind screamed in Phaethon's ears. He was battered by freezing vacuum and burning heat simultaneously, and the sheer velocity blinded him to his surroundings. This celestial map details the massive Scorpio constellation. As the runaway chariot careened off course, Phaethon found himself staring directly at this cosmic horror, complete with giant pincers and a raised, venom-dripping stinger blocking his path. Faced with an enormous, literal monster in the sky, the boy's fabricated courage shattered. Sick to his stomach and completely consumed by terror, he dropped the reins. The flying horses veered completely out of control. The sun chariot entered a catastrophic freefall, surrounded by an inferno, plunging straight down toward the earth. The sun crashed into the ground. Lush green meadows instantly turned to white ash, tall forests consumed by relentless fire. Snow melted off the mountain peaks, and rivers boiled away into steam. Phaethon's internal inability to manage his own fear manifested outwardly, turning his psychological collapse into a violent physical disaster that scorched an entire continent. When the smoke finally cleared, the vibrant garden was gone forever. The plants, the water, and the wildlife were replaced by an endless stretch of scorching, silent golden sand. The ancient Greeks categorized Phaethon's fatal flaw as hubris, the extreme, dangerous pride that convinces a mortal they are entitled to wield the authority of a god. They believed that such unchecked arrogance always triggers a reaction called nemesis, an inevitable, crushing retaliation that restores balance to the world by destroying the arrogant. A single boy's demand to impress his childhood friends ended up scorching a continent. Today, the millions of square miles of dead sand in North Africa remain as a geological monument to what happens when blind ambition vastly outpaces